coming up on episode 26 of Skywalking Through Neverland.
This is Margaret Kerry, the alter ego of Tinkerbell, and once again, I am skywalking through Neverland with my dear friends Richard and Sarah, and I want to send them faith and trust and a whole bunch of pixie dust. Fake happy thoughts.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Ladies, listen!
A billion years in the making.
Off to Neverland!
What do you know?
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll kiss $3 goodbye.
Hey, Skywalkers. Thank you very much for coming back to
Skywalking Through Neverland.
We are coming to you the week of April 14th, 2014. This is Richard, and over here is my sweetie wife, Sarah.
Also known as Jedi Tink. Hi, sweetie.
Hey. So, in today's show, we are very, very happy to have back Margaret Kerry, a great friend of the show.
Yeah, she's the animation reference model for Tinkerbell.
And she is back to give her thoughts about the new Disney Pirate Fairy movie. Now, after you hear her thoughts on the show later on, listen up for some big news regarding Miss Kerry and Skywalking Through Neverland.
Woohoo! Now, another good friend of the show, Robert Bapst of the Bald Solo podcast, is back to tell us what he thought of Captain America: The Winter Soldier and how the film was similar and different from the comic books. We really like that aspect.
Now, since starting Skywalking Through Neverland, we have met a lot of great people, which has opened up a lot of doors for us. One of which was through Adventures by Daddy. Now, this is a great blog site that focuses on travel, theme parks, and entertainment to help families navigate through life's adventures. Now, we have partnered with Adventures by Daddy, where we go out and we'll review films, theme park, ride openings, and all kinds of really, really fun stuff. And this last week, I was lucky enough to go out and review the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem ride at Universal Studios Hollywood. Now, the members of the press were all aligned on the yellow carpet, which is, if you watch the Oscars, they have the red carpet. Now they have the yellow carpet because of the Minions.
Yes.
And so we got a chance to talk to and take pictures of some of the stars that were there, like Tia Carrera. Not sure why she was there.
Okay.
But a lot of the stars from the movie, the voice actors, like Miranda Cosgrove was there, and she was working the line. And not to be outdone, the Minions were there.
Oh.
The Minions and Gru.
Oh, awesome. Now, were the Minions, how many Minions were there? Because it looked like from your pictures there was a lot.
Nah, there was 3.
Wow.
Now, there's one of 2 options at the start. You could either take pictures with all the stars or go have those Minion cupcakes.
Oh.
I went for the Minion cupcakes. They were real. Those things had a street value of like $15 each. These were big, like birthday cake size cupcakes.
They look like giant.
So the opening ceremony started with dancers from a local high school all singing Happy.
Oh.
Just as soon as Happy left my head last week, because we had talked to Simon Wilkie, who was in the Happy video
for Star Wars.
Based around Star Wars.
Right.
Just as soon as that song left my head, it was here once again, because that's all they played from the loudspeakers. So then, following the dancers, they had a couple of presidents and vice presidents and chairmen and
of Universal? Of NBC Universal?
Yeah, people in ties. But Ron Meyer, the vice chairman of NBC Universal, got up to the podium, and he was very excited about the use of the Minion characters, saying that they are their Mickey Mouse.
Wow.
So it only took him how long to get really a mascot character, because before the Minions, aside from Harry Potter, they had Marmaduke and Beetle Bailey.
What about the rooster?
Broomhilda. Who?
Who's the rooster? We saw
Woody Woodpecker.
Yes, Woody Woodpecker.
So, needless to say, these characters Universal have been outdated since the 60s.
Yeah.
But now, they have the Minions. And now, the Minions have their very own ride called Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. So we were all brought onto the ride, and it still had that new ride smell. Think fresh paint.
Okay.
And the ride is all based on an experiment by Gru and his Dr. Nefario that turns human guests into his minion army. So that is the basis of the ride.
Okay.
And if you've been to Universal Studios and you've been on the Simpsons ride, well, it's basically the same thing.
So you're in a little car.
Yeah, you're in a car, and the way
projected
the way new rides are going these days, it's all flight simulator digital projected.
Okay.
Which I guess in the big picture, it's great because you don't need all the space to house a roller coaster.
Well, especially in LA, I would figure that would be great.
Especially at Universal,
Yeah.
where real estate is at a minimum. So
At a premium as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was one of these carts where you watch the digital projection and it's all 3D, but it was very, very well done. But once again, if you've been on the Simpsons ride, and you can get a very good idea.
Would I like it though?
Oh, you'd love it. It's they're minions. You can't go wrong with minions. They're so cute.
They're cute.
And just the way they jibber jabber.
Okay, so did you? So you actually turn into a minion, kind of?
Whereas with Star Tours, they'll pick one person to be the rebel spy.
Yes.
With this, they will choose one of the cars and show you on the big screen what it's like to transform from a human to a minion. And I was in the car that they showed, and it was funny seeing myself turn into a little pill-shaped minion.
Oh, did it take on characteristics of you, or just
it was one of those
minions?
Transformation type of shots.
Okay,
where you go from the person to the minion.
Gotcha.
And once again, it was a very fun. Kids are gonna love this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I personally could have done without the fart joke. Why is that funny? Why is that funny? I don't know. But they did really miss the boat on a lot of 4D, which I don't know why, because the Shrek ride is there in 4D. Why not make this in 4D? Meaning, even the Simpsons ride has the 4D, so you can smell what's going on the screen.
Okay.
And of course, the fart joke. It smelled like bananas, and I'm not really sure if it tied in with the movie.
Okay.
Let's skate beyond that.
Okay.
So it missed that, which I don't understand why, because the technology is there. Plus, it didn't really have the Hedo vision, which a lot of the rides over at Disney has. So when you're going through fire or something warm, you can feel the warmth within the theater. It didn't have any of that. But I can't say this enough that kids are going to love this ride, and adults will too. It's really, really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I know I would like to ride it. So this recap can be found on Adventures by Daddy blog, correct?
Yes, I had written up a full review for Adventures by Daddy.
With lots of pictures and everything.
And that can be found at adventuresbydaddy.com.
Also on adventuresbydaddy.com was an adventure I went on this week. We kind of separated this week, Richard. Went on different adventures.
Now, from one song that plays in an endless loop in your head to another, I had Happy stuck in my head. What did you have stuck in your head?
I had It's a Small World After All stuck in my head this week because on Thursday, April 10th, that was actually Disney's It's a Small World ride 50th anniversary celebration. Yeah. And basically Disney at all the parks around the world, which makes sense because the song is about world peace and everyone around the world, they had sing-alongs at every theme park. Hong Kong Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland Paris had this choir with all different voices and nationalities come and sing. And of course Disney World did something, but Disneyland, in my opinion, got the best thing of all because
who was their guest?
Well, our sing-along was led by none other than the composer of the song itself, Richard Sherman.
BJ Novak was there?
No, the actual
the
Richard
real
Sherman.
Richard Sherman. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Special sing-along moment with others from around the world. Leading the fun here at Disneyland will be songwriter and Disney legend Richard Sherman, who together with his brother Robert composed the song that has become synonymous with the word Disney. This is a unique opportunity to show once and for all that it really is a small world after all.
Richard Sherman is a wonderful guy if you've ever met him. He's just amazing.
You've met him before.
Yes, I have. I have met him before and at a screening in LA. And he talked about how he composed some of his music for Mary Poppins, which is exciting. But anyway, so
that's the day your head blew up.
Yeah, pretty much. That was I think my first celebrity sighting in LA, like first long contact one-on-one. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Anyway, but he was there at Disneyland and he hosted this Google Hangout, which he answered a bunch of questions from people in the Hangout and online, but they had him set up right in front of the ride for It's a Small World to answer all these questions. And he ended
very
up,
appropriate.
Yeah, yeah. And he ended up playing Feed the Birds in front of the ride, which actually I just ended up missing by like 2 minutes. I was very sad. But then...
Didn't they know who you were? They couldn't wait?
Apparently not. I don't know. Maybe if I was wearing my Mary Poppins outfit, they would have waited. But after that Google Hangout, they had a parade that went from the It's a Small World ride all the way up Main Street to the beginning of Disneyland. And he was mic'd, and he led the whole park, a park-wide sing-along of It's a Small World as he was going up in the parade. And it was awesome. Yay.
What, was everybody in key?
No. But that's okay. That's part of the beauty of it. So I had a really good time. And after that, I went over to the Jolly Holiday Bakery, in which plays an endless loop of Mary Poppins music. And I asked the workers there, I was like, has Richard Sherman been in here today? Like, has he come? They're like, no.
No.
I know. I was like, if I was Richard Sherman, I would love to go in there.
I'm sure he had been in there. How could you not?
I know.
Maybe they just didn't know who he was.
Maybe. Although he would have been surrounded by a bunch of VIP,
that's very true.
Staff. So yeah, it was a fun day, a fun hour, a little magical moment in the midst of Disneyland.
Well, happy birthday. It's a small world after all.
Yeah. In our new segment, Movie Review Roundup, we're going to be interviewing Margaret Kerry about Disney's The Pirate Fairy.
Hey ho, imagine the places that we'll go. No one can stop us when we're so high. They will all cower in fear.
It's not often that the opportunity comes up where you get to meet a real Disney legend. Not too long ago, we had the pleasure of meeting Ms. Margaret Kerry, who was the animation reference model for Tinkerbell in the original Peter Pan film. Since then, we've had Margaret on one of our most downloaded episodes.
Now, we have her back to talk about Disney's new Tinkerbell film, The Pirate Fairy. Hey, Margaret.
Hi, I'm here.
Yay.
We sound very enthusiastic about the movie A Pirate Fairy. Are all of us feeling the same way?
I think so. Oh, definitely. You know what? If I was a little girl when I saw that movie, I would be all over these Tinkerbell movies.
I agree. It was just adorable. And, I mentioned before we went on the air that yesterday, you've heard of Marty Sklar. Most everyone knows of Marty Sklar, who was so big at Disney Studios.
Yes.
And he's retired. And one of the things that he does is he raises funds for his favorite charity, which is Ryman Arts. And Herb Ryman was the man who did the map for Walt Disney. And they say in 48 hours, so Walt Disney and his brother could take it back to New York and sell it to the people back there, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And so there is an art, Ryman Arts, that helps and gives scholarships to young folks who see whether they want to be artists. And I came to their fundraiser, and I was auctioned off to be a tour guide. Guess what? That's what I was doing yesterday.
Oh.
I was a tour guide at Disney Studios. And you know that it is the second happiest place on earth. They couldn't get over, literally could not get over how happy everyone was, and it was laughter, and we just had a wonderful time. We ended up at the Archives, which has just been remodeled, and they're going to have quite a few tours for groups that belong to D23.
Right.
I understand why people say, I wish I could work for Disney. Well, my dears, I think Disney has over 650,000 employees around the world. So the chances are you can. But you people have to let Disney know that you're there, that you want to go to work for them.
Definitely.
Well, thank goodness Disney's always trying to keep ahead of itself, especially with the Tinkerbell films. And now with the Pirate Fairy, what did you think of the film?
Well, I'm always so surprised to see Tinkerbell. and she doesn't look like Mark Davis Tinkerbell, which is okay. Which is okay. Mark Davis is the man who designed Tinkerbell. He's one of the 9 old men of Disney. He was my director. I got to work with this wonderful gentleman, and he would sketch things for me of how he wanted Tinkerbell to do this, that, or the other, and or bring in the storyboard. But I am just used to her in her little skirt. Did you know that Mark Davis put in the character that he did that her skirt had only 7 points on it?
I did not.
Did you know that? Alice Davis, the wonderful Alice Davis, Mark's wife, Alice said he was, and it's very difficult to do 7 points.
Right. Really?
As an artist. It really is. But that's what he called for.
I think it's probably easier to do an even number because everything is, like,
you're right.
Even in a circle as an artist. I can see that.
You were the reference model for Peter Pan. How many other films were you the reference model for Tinkerbell?
Well, they used my work all the way through.
Okay.
All the way through.
Do you know how many films that was?
Haven't a clue. But I do know that when they first started making the series of 4, the last 4 before this film, I went over and visited them, and they asked me how she would do this or how she would do that. And I would show them, and they go, "Oh!" So it was more of a visit than anything else. But she has changed dramatically,
right?
And as my daughter said, and maybe you noticed this, so I'll let you talk about this for a minute. All of the darling fairies that were there, including Zarina, they had older faces. They had teenager faces. You look at Tinkerbell's face, and she still looks like she's 4 years old.
She's got big fat cheeks, doesn't she?
Did you notice that?
Yeah, she has like big giant fat cheeks.
Yes, but I mean, why is she the only one? There must be a good reason, because they don't do things unless they have a good reason.
You know what? I think I have a reason, actually.
What?
In the first Tinkerbell film, the first Tinkerbell movie, all the other fairies were already established in Pixie Hollow, and Tinkerbell just is born in that first movie. So she is established as actually being younger than all of them. So
but that much younger?
I know. I don't know.
The other thing was, I must say that I love Zarina's costume.
Yes.
I wonder who the fairies have as their stylists. They are all wearing such cute things again.
They are.
As they switch around. Wow.
Have you been keeping up with all the Tinkerbell movies?
I think so. I've been so busy with my clubhouse that I have on my website, which I'm going to mention right now. It's called TinkerbellTalks.com. And it is so Tinkerbell. It is so, I got so excited about it because it is just so cozy and so magical. We have about, oh my goodness, I think it's about 50 or a little less than 50 video clips of me starting out when I was 4 years old in our gang comedies, all the way up to the fun talk, the short clips of the fun talk that I did at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. I was a hit. I got a standing ovation.
Aww.
Other than Tinkerbell, who is your other favorite fairy in the Pirate Fairies?
Oh dear, I hadn't even thought of that. I think Gary Ferry is my favorite.
Oh, Gary.
I think he's absolutely wonderful. They play him just right. And he is, you should pardon the expression, sort of strange with that strange name.
Yeah.
But he's sort of the catalyst. There were a couple of the pirates that were very, very delightful. Mm-hmm. There was one of them who was a little too mean for me, but then I'm old. I don't like mean pirates.
You mean that mean old Captain Hook?
He wasn't. That was what was so interesting until the very end of the show and of the movie, and then all the action.
Yeah.
That was remarkable. Don't you think those animators had a ball?
I think so.
Ship flying in the air.
Oh my gosh, the artistry in that movie and the music to the film, it's gorgeous.
My daughter's still humming it.
Oh, yes. Hey ho, la 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 la. Yep.
And but I loved it that he would seem to be so nice to her, and it was, if you really didn't know the story that much, and this was the first time that you were introduced to all of this, you would think, my, he's a nice pirate. Oh, look at her. That little tiny thing is the captain that they call her.
Yeah.
And they pay attention to her and all the rest of it. And then when he turns on her and they get this ship to fly, I kept thinking, every artist that is working on this movie can hardly wait to that sequence.
Oh, yeah.
And that adorable crocodile.
Yes. In the Peter Pan novels, now he's said to be tick-tocking like a crocodile, and he's eaten a clock, but in this movie we get to see him actually swallow the clock.
Yes. I'm waiting for the croc to bite his hand off.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened. But I thought, how clever of them to put all that together. I think every once in a while, the Disney people are accused of being very clever. And I think they're guilty of it. It was a romp. I don't know why it didn't go to theater.
Well, I know.
It's just much cheaper and easier just to put them out on DVD.
Yeah.
Well, it did have a couple of theaters playing it.
They've just made $1 billion on Frozen.
If you were to tinker with this film, what would you do differently?
Well,
That's a loaded question, isn't it?
I'm just curious, and I am not questioning, because as I said, they think things out. I saw the star of this movie is Serena.
Right.
Tinkerbell is just sort of along for the ride. And I found that very interesting. It's as if we're introducing another fairy that is big enough that we can sell merchandise with. Now, it turns out that she's absolutely adorable. It turns out that I think the casting of the voices is remarkable.
Right.
Just remarkable. And I thought they did a beautiful job with this. I got to know them better.
Okay.
In this. I really, really did. And their little southern accent came through, all this sort of thing. I thought that was absolutely adorable. As sweet and wonderful as all the pixie dust and Zarina goes into, mix up the blue pixie dust, I never thought of them working. But what else were they going to do?
Right.
I love the story of Zarina. I love the story of the pirates. I love the ship. I love the music that goes with this movie. But do you notice what she does is the same thing that I do. And the same thing, if you remember back in Peter Pan and Return to Neverland, that Tinkerbell does. Why isn't the dust pink? Why isn't what some of the other questions that she asked?
So you're saying that Tinkerbell questions everything?
Tinkerbell questioned everything, and she had more fun about it. And I love her for it. The thing that was interesting to me, and was that she kept getting stopped by her bosses.
Oh, Zarina? Zarina kept getting stopped?
Zarina got stopped by her bosses. What is that one line where she said, why isn't it pink?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what is Gary Ferry says, you must not ever tamper with it. So that's no answer.
Right.
Don't think that is the kind of thing. And that's how Tinkerbell feels about things.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that she's a chemist, and this is what she's interested in, I loved that about her. Because that's what we want our children to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of
we,
course.
we want everybody to say, why is that? One of my favorite questions is, why don't pop-up toasters have see-through sides so you know when the toast is done? What did you all like the best on it?
I liked the interaction between the fairies and the fact that they all got the different powers, so they all kind of had to learn about each other in the process of trying to help each other out and steal back the blue fairy dust.
Well said. Well said. I like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And the change of costume.
Yeah, that was very cute. Even though
Well, very-
Tinkerbell didn't get her 7 points on her skirt.
No, and her costume was rather muted.
Mm-hmm. I think so, too.
But Zarina's costume, I'd take anytime.
Yeah. I know. I want to
That's
make that
adorable.
and wear that. It's so cute. Now, what did you think of Mae Whitman's voice acting as Tinkerbell?
Oh, she's wonderful. I heard the first time when they had the other actress, way back when they started.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one who passed away.
Oh, is it Brittany Murphy?
Brittany Murphy.
Oh, yeah. She was Tinkerbell in the 2007 film, Tinkerbell.
No, she was not.
Oh.
What happened was I'm over there and I'm listening to it and they're showing me the first part and they're telling me this story of how it's going to go, which was charming. And I'm listening to this voice and I'm thinking, I finally said something.
Mm.
I said her voice, she's wonderful, but she's too old.
Mm.
She sounds like a 22-year-old.
Right.
I mean, you're saying that this is a brand new fairy who just sailed over to Neverland and is just literally just being born. And they said, well, we've recorded it and so on and so forth. Well, they changed it.
Oh, really?
I guess they got May to do it. And did I tell you, I was on the platform with May one time, not very long ago. She is one of the most excited people to be the voice of Tinkerbell.
Oh.
She is like Tinkerbell. You think I talk?
Is she a talker?
You get her rolling on Tinkerbell. I can't believe it. I do the voice of Tinkerbell. She is just, and she's such fun. And and it goes,
Sounds like me.
You know, because you can get somebody as an actress who might say, oh, yes, well, that's just one of the things that I do. And then I'm also in, but with Mae Whitman, it is so important to her. And it's an exciting moment of her life, and I love it because it is an exciting moment of her life.
Yeah, that's so good to hear.
Now, if you were to write a Tinkerbell film, what would it be about?
Oh, my. It would all be about Tinkerbell.
She'd be the star.
I think I would have her save the world.
A small
You're
adventure.
laughing, but she could do it. She could do it.
Yeah?
She would call in all of her friends, and because she is a good leader, she would say, now, I need to know about all this stuff called physics. You tell me about that, and we'll put that together with how we take care of the water. And then she would give each one an assignment, and then she would check with the powers that be, and somehow she would stop the asteroid, or she would, that's what I would do. I'd make her a superhero. Can you imagine all the work in this movie, the fairy pirate? The pirate fairy. I get this backwards. Of all the pixie dust that they had around the characters, the pirates, each pirate, as the ship was flying up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember Captain Hook, who was hanging on to a mainsail, and all over his arms, his hands, every place, there's pixie dust, and it glows. And I'm thinking, my gosh, what patience to the artists to make that happen, because it's a remarkable scene.
Yeah, yeah.
I just, both my daughter and I sat there, Chris is her name, we sat there in wonderment, just as I did with Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just took my breath away. It was so incredible. And I thought the scenes that they had in this movie, and we keep talking about the end, near the end, the climax of it. I just thought they were amazing. And I hope that people really, along that line, while they're enjoying the movie, I hope that they know that this is amazing stuff that they're seeing on the screen.
Yeah, it definitely had more story and more themes and more character than most big budget blockbusters do.
Absolutely. And the charm of it was wonderful. I was worried all the way through after Serena took the blue fairy dust, though.
Yes.
And I turned to my daughter later on and I said, I had one anxiety, and she said that they would drop the container that held the blue pixie dust and it would break.
Yes.
I said, how did you know that? She said, that's the way I felt. You know, they were holding it like it was absolutely nothing. And we're seeing a glass container with the most priceless pixie dust around.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I guess we took this picture quite seriously then. Isn't it lovely that all 5 of these movies have taught something?
Yes, I agree.
It is really, really wonderful. And it's not wasted on children, I will tell you. Well, what's not to enjoy? It was Serena's picture, and it should have been, and she's adorable, and she should join with everybody, and that I keep coming back to that wonderful costume of hers.
Now, before we wrap things up, can you tell us what you would think Walt Disney would think about the Pirate Fairy?
Oh, I think he would be absolutely delighted. It has everything that a Disney movie should have like this. It has adorable characters, and I get warm all over when I see these wonderful characters, and I want to take them home with me.
Oh.
I hope when they're making these movies, they keep thinking to themselves, would Walt approve of this? Would Walt really like this?
Well, I think they've transferred a little bit of that because with the first movie, as you know, they were feeling their way in the dark of what to do, and this was the first time that Tinkerbell talked because she was talking to other fairies and all of this, and they tried 3 or 4 different storylines, and they had done a lot of the animation, which I had seen. I talked to them later, and they said, I said, how is it going? And Bill is a good friend of mine over there, Bill Turner, and he said, well, it's going great because we just had Bleak Tuesday, I think, as he said. I said, what? And he said, well, we're about to show it to the new guy on the block named Lassiter. And they had just bought Pixar.
Right.
And Lassiter had just come in, and of course, it was like, oh, you know, is this what? Well, I think Walt would have loved this. You know, there's enough magic in it. Of course, that's what he worried about more than anything else. Is there enough magic in it? Does it elicit magical feelings in the audience? Does the storyline hold together? And is the storyline magical?
Right.
If you look at it, everything that he did boiled down to that. So anyway, the story is from the people who were there. John Lasseter walked in, who is the neatest guy. He is the easiest person to talk to. And the last time I saw him at the big 90th party, I reminded him of who I am, because, of course, I don't see him that often. He said, oh, I'm so glad. He threw his arms around me and gave me such a hug. How are you? How is it going? He was just a sweetheart. And he had on his Hawaiian shirt with a tuxedo jacket over it. But anyway, so they said, and he sat there and he went, They could tell that he was not really terribly impressed. Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they were waiting for him to say, we've got to start all over or let's scrap this. I mean, literally.
Wow.
Some of them. Because they were trying something new, something different. And you have no one to guide it. That's what Walt Disney did. He guided everyone as they started something. And he'd guide them away from this and to that. Well, John Lasseter said, he says, I think I'm paraphrasing words, so this is not a quote. But it turned out that he said something like, I've got a couple of storyline ideas, so I'd like to tell you about, and you might be able to use one or two of them. So I'll either, he told him then, or he said, I'll send them to you. But he says, keep up the good work, or something like that, and left.
Oh.
So they used one of his storylines, and they sort of moved it over because they said it was brilliant. And he, of course, said, okay, because it wouldn't have been released
Right.
if he hadn't been pleased with it. So I think that they're thinking now to start out with, is it magical enough?
Well, Margaret, thank you so much for joining us on Skywalking Through Neverland and talking about the Pirate Fairy.
And we look forward to talking to you about the next Tinkerbell film that comes out.
Well, I think that's a wonderful idea. You two are terrific. I love it, your teamwork. I love what you're doing. And I'm just going to send a whole bunch of magic pixie dust your way. What do you think?
We'll take it.
Accepted.
Okay, and I just want to, again, invite people to get on my website, tinkerbelltalks.com, and take a look at the clubhouse, because they might want to become a member. And we have a special Facebook inside the clubhouse and special blogs. And so, and as I say, it is so Tinkerbell.
Yay, thank you. Hugs and kisses.
I had a wonderful time as usual. Thank you for asking me. Okay, dears, bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, Richard, it's always such a thrill to talk to such a Disney legend. It was so exciting.
Well, she is never short on stories.
No. Oh, she's so cute and so sweet to listen to. I just love her voice.
Yeah, there's so much excitement in her voice.
And mischief.
No matter what she's talking about, she's always just so excited.
It's true. Now, we did mention in our show at the beginning of the show that we would have some big news regarding Margaret Kerry and Skywalking Through Neverland.
Reveal.
Well, how often do you have a problem that you just can't find a solution for?
All the time.
You do? Well, those days are now behind you, Richard.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because starting in 2 weeks, Margaret Kerry will officially be Skywalking Through Neverland's fairy godmother.
Squeal.
She will be here to answer any question you have regarding family, career, or relationships. So think Dear Abby meets Tinkerbell. Isn't that exciting?
Yes, it is.
So send questions in that you want to ask Margaret Kerry. Send those questions in to us at share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com. Or if you want to go to our website, skywalkingthroughneverland.com, and click on the little link on the right side of the page, you can leave a voice message for her to hear. And then she can answer you directly.
So that'll be really fun because she can hear some of the questions personally from the fans.
Yeah,
which would be really, really fun.
So we snuck this out there to a few listeners. We've already gotten lots of emails and messages.
So this is going to be a really, really fun new segment. And Margaret Kerry was very, very excited to hear this. And as she said,
let's face it, as Margaret Kerry and as Tinkerbell, I always have an opinion.
Oh, we have a fairy godmother, Richard.
Your days of problems are now far behind you.
Yay. With Margaret Kerry and Tinkerbell on your side. Now, we have to celebrate because Margaret's birthday is coming up on May 11th. Shh. What?
We don't want her to hear because we have some special surprises.
We do? What are they?
Well, if you would like to send her a little of your own faith, trust, pixie dust, and birthday wishes, email us and or leave a voice message on our website, and we will play some of these messages on our show, as well as compiling all of these messages and putting them on a CD and sending it to her.
Oh, how nice.
Not only will we send it to her, we're gonna personally give it to her in a very special way, but we no spoilers just yet.
No?
We're still working out some logistics.
Okay.
That is gonna be a lot of fun. And something I'm pretty sure she has never had or seen before.
Yay.
So it'll be really, really fun. So if you have a special message, please go ahead and send it in. Now, you have until Tuesday, May the 6th to send in your voice messages.
Yes.
Because we need a couple of days to compile everything and put them on a CD.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to email, that's fine too, but we need those emails by Friday, May the 9th.
Okay. So once again, that's email share@skywalkingthroughneverland.com, or go to our website and there's a voice message tab on the right side of the page that will pop up when you first open up our website, skywalkingthroughneverland.com. And wish Margaret Kerry a happy birthday and ask her your pressing questions.
Be our guest, put our service to the test. Tie your napkin on your neck, sirree, and we'll provide the rest. Soup is your hot hors d'oeuvres.
Last week, we had said that we were going to review Captain America, the Winter Soldier with Steve Houston from Torpedo Comics. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make today, so instead, we have Robert Bapst of the Bald Solo podcast. Hey, Robert.
Hey, Skywalking Through Neverland. How's it going, guys?
Good. Hey, thanks for jumping in at the last minute here. We really appreciate it. But
Absolutely.
When it comes to talking movies, especially superhero movies, we knew we came to the right man.
Yeah.
Well, who doesn't like talking about superheroes and movies?
Not our kind.
Not at all.
Our kind. Yes.
What we do on the Skywalking Through Neverland, instead of reviewing a film the week it comes out, we will talk about it the week after its release. That way people get a chance to see the movie and can therefore participate in the conversation.
Yeah.
Because if you talk about it before people have seen it, they can't really relate to it, and we might spoil some things.
Yes.
So that'll be our policy, to talk about a movie the week after it's come out.
Well, that's mighty considerate of you.
So we know.
Today we're going to talk about Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Oh, so good.
So where does this fall in the ranks of anticipation among the Marvel films for you?
The Avengers, before this, was my big anticipated release. And before that, it was The Incredible Hulk, because that's my favorite Avenger character. So I was really looking forward to seeing what Edward Norton would bring to the role. This one, it's one of my favorite Captain America story arcs is the Winter Soldier. And so I was super excited about seeing this one.
Do you know the comic version of this story?
It's a little bit different, and it has been a bit since I have read it.
Okay.
But generally speaking, you're getting the nuts and bolts of what happened. The big thing about it is the big reveal for Steve Rogers that this Winter Soldier he's been battling is Bucky.
Right.
Who died in the first film.
Well, it looks like he didn't die.
Looks like, but yeah, I totally looks like he died.
The big difference between the Captain America thing right now and the Captain America thing in the comics was that the Nazis were the bad guys. They were a lot. It was the Nazis.
Okay, so in the comics,
Hydra was a thing, but they made Hydra more prevalent in the movies.
So in the comics, the Winter Soldier storyline was set back in the 40s and 50s?
No, it was in present day, and he wasn't a Hydra agent. He was a agent of the Soviet Union.
Oh, okay.
An agent, yes. And it's fine. What they're doing is making it relevant for today's audience. The Soviet Union wouldn't mean anything to a lot of people going that are of a certain generation.
Yeah, most people would see this and go, wait a minute, weren't we over there just for the Olympics? Why are we mad at them all of a sudden?
The three of us
remember
the Cold War and remember the Soviet Union and remember putting USSR on geography tests. Yeah, so, I mean, that was the big, that's it. But the essence of it was definitely there. I think this is the best Marvel film to date of the entire run.
Better than the Avengers?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's not like the Avengers was any slouch. It's just that I think this film went the distance. It went above the bar that the Avengers set for me. The thing they did so well that I noticed was the introduction of those secondary characters like the Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
He was awesome. They could have really messed that up because A, it's not a character people are all that familiar with. Most people, like, okay, the Falcon. I mean, if you read the Marvel comics, you've heard of the Falcon.
And you heard of the Falcon with his red and white spandex suit, which I was looking forward
It's
to.
a different suit, yes.
So was the actor.
I will never give up on that.
No.
the actor was looking forward to wearing that suit too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? So you saw an
Yeah.
interview with him? He wanted to wear the spandex?
He was on Ellen, and he mentioned that he knew he had this role, so he's working out, and he looked at himself in the mirror right before he was going to shoot, and he's like, all right, wow, I haven't looked this good since I was 18. I'm ready for that spandex. And then he goes on set to his costume fitting, and they give him this black, like, tech outfit, and he's like, where's my spandex? I was ready for it.
I want my mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really funny.
And you asked about the comic book, how it compares. I think the thing here, and in the latest episode of my podcast, we talked about this a bit, and I find this relationship and this sort of schism, not in a bad way, that's kind of developing fascinating between the movies and the comics. So I noticed that I've noticed lately started to kind of draw these connections. Like if you think back to the Tim Burton Batman movies, right?
Yes.
They were using the comics as source material, and what you're starting to see now are the movies are doing their own thing. And they're drifting away from depending on the comics. And you're actually starting to see Marvel is producing comic books in line with the movies so that they both work together, as opposed to it's a movie based on a comic book.
Right. Much like they're doing now with the TV series, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I mean, they changed Cap's costume in the comics. And you can't help but notice the similarities between it and the movie.
So what major differences are there between the movie and the comic version?
It's how Chris Evans comes across as Captain America versus how he comes across in the comics. He certainly worked his physique up, but it's when you read the comic books, they draw these guys so big and buff and larger than life. Yeah. And Captain America has such a presence in the Avengers comics. I mean, when he walks into the panel, everybody shuts up. I mean, there's this moment a while back. There was a comic run called Avengers Disassembled, and essentially the Avengers team just was torn apart, and there was this huge. I mean, it'd be way too much to go into, but there's this really huge battle going on, and he kind of just steps into it, and there's chaos everywhere. And he just kind of reaches down, and I think there's a military soldier on the ground who's been knocked down by a blast, and he reaches down, and he's, essentially like, what's the sit rep soldier? And, he sees Captain America, and he's got this like awestruck respect face going on. And, he's just immediately back into the moment because Captain America is this rallying force. I mean, that's really his superpower. He's got the shield, yes. He's got the super strength, yes. But in my opinion, Cap's superpower is his ability to lead, his ability to inspire.
His ability to inspire and his dedication to the job, to America.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I think the film should have been called not Captain America the Winter Soldier, but Captain America versus America.
Well, I'm wondering if they're ever going to do this. I mean, I don't see this. It would be cool. I don't know how they would transition into this, but the Civil War storyline would be amazing with the Superhero Registration Act and Iron Man on one side saying, well, I think we should do this because it's the right thing to do. And Captain America saying, no, this goes against everything the country stands for. And the Avengers actually splitting apart.
Wow. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, that was a huge one because you had people would have assumed that Captain America would side with the government, but that's not what he's defending. He's defending the essence of what America stands for, not its governmental institution. And I think that read heavily in this movie, by the way.
Yeah, he very much stands for truth, justice, and the American way. I just wish Superman did the same thing.
You mean in the recent movie?
Yes.
In that high-budgeted fan film known as Man of Steel. So Bucky Barnes, who is now the Winter Soldier, I thought was more of a B storyline. I was really getting into the whole Captain America versus Shield. And I thought that was really interesting. It was very much Palpatine in his forming of the Empire. That's exactly what I got when watching this, because now you have Robert Redford and he's becoming the Palpatine turning Shield against itself.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I think you know, I didn't think about it that way, and definitely in the way that Hydra infiltrated Shield, and they were establishing these sort of Death Star-like helicarriers.
Oh, very much so, yeah. And going into this, that was the one thing I did not know about. I didn't know that Hydra was going to be in this film.
Yeah, me either.
I was trying to stay away from trailers and such, so just knowing that Hydra was back again and being this shroud of darkness within S.H.I.E.L.D., I thought was so exciting. And when they would cut to the scenes with Winter Soldier, I just wanted to fast forward those and get back to Captain America versus S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, I think like that was the detail that they hid very well, was that Hydra was going to be in it. They did a great job of misdirecting in the trailers, because I was under the impression that this was going to lead more towards the Civil War sort of story, and that the American government was becoming increasingly focused on being invasive with people's privacy, and I was assuming that it was going to be the government and S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of implementing this sort of control over the public. And then my assumption was that it was going to introduce the idea of a superhero registration act. And then they were going to have that. I didn't see Hydra coming at all.
And then last week's Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show also tied into this, and I thought it was just perfect. And we've been sticking with S.H.I.E.L.D. It's had its lulls, but now it's really tying into the films more dramatically, and it was just phenomenal. Okay. So if you go back and watch the shows, there's more hints than we actually saw the first time around.
So is Captain America Winter Soldier, are we assuming Captain America Winter Soldier takes place in between the previous episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the next one coming out?
Yes.
Wow, well, that's a lot of plot change to happen between two episodes of television.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, S.H.I.E.L.D. has been dismantled.
Yeah.
So
which is really interesting. I mean, it's very much the Republic from Star Wars.
So, do you think in the next episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so there is no S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I don't know.
It's like the Republic. It's just falling apart faster and faster and faster as the dark side takes over. And it's going to be interesting to see who is really the good guys and who's really the bad guys. Just when you think you have a handle on things, they pulled the carpet out from under you again.
Right, and Black Widow dumped all of the S.H.I.E.L.D.'s secrets onto the internet.
Yeah.
including her file. So
yeah, I mean this film should have been really called Captain America and Black Widow versus America.
Yeah,
because it was just as much. Well, she had a huge part in this, which I'm very glad, because I doubt she'll ever get her own movie. So this is as close as she'll ever get.
I also want Nick Fury's car.
Yeah, you want Director Fury's car?
Jeez, when he was ambushed,
that's pretty awesome.
They just get. I mean, how many? It was amazing. It was like an Adam West Batman utility belt. Like he had a thing for everything that came at him.
Yeah.
I know I can't really say too much about the end tags about the next films coming up, but when you saw that, did you know what was going on after the credits rolled?
Oh, remind me of the Easter egg, because I stayed for it.
Well, there was the two people locked up.
It was Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, okay, so this is the first Easter egg. I read comics, but I am pale in comparison to some of my friends.
Yeah,
who I'm sure knew exactly what that was. I had absolutely no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
none.
You're the same.
Likewise, we had no idea. And
us too.
Now it sounds like you really liked Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Is there anything, any part of the movie that you did not like? Tell us what you think, and I'll tell you what I think, and then Sarah's turn.
That it wasn't longer. Really, seriously, I wanted more Winter Soldier, and I wanted more movie. I would have been happy to have seen a Lord of the Rings length extended cut Captain America Winter Soldier.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Sarah?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it was almost a little too much action. Like it almost turned into kind of like a Die Hard movie there for a while. that I had to suspend my disbelief that like the Falcon, when he was going up against 3 of these massive, what are these called? Those
helicarriers.
Helicarriers. The Falcon was going up against 3 massive helicarriers by himself. They're all shooting at him, and somehow all the bullets managed to miss him, even though there was no one else to deflect like all the bullets from him. You know,
he's Falcon.
Yeah.
I know, but
he can't die.
I know, and
he's
I
not
know
Bucky Barnes.
Right.
And I know a lot of the movies. For some reason, this one in particular, I really had to suspend my disbelief more than the usual amount. I still liked it, and I mean, Chris Evans, come on, nice eye candy there. And I like the fact how
Sarah wanted more nudity.
Who is it, Sarah? Is it Hemsworth or Evans? Which one?
Can I have both?
Oh my God, that's great.
All right, moving right along.
I love you, sweetie.
Yeah, sure you do.
You just want a Thor Captain America double date.
Why are you doing this?
He said it, not me.
Why are you doing this, Robert? Why?
Triple date.
Yeah, okay. You know what? My turn, okay?
Okay.
Stand down. So the one thing I love the movie. I really had a good time, and I can tell I really had a good time because I did not fall asleep.
Yep.
And I've got a penchant for falling asleep during most movies, and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for this one. However, I wanted to hear more about where the other Avengers were at this desperate time of need.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Where's Iron Man? Where's the Hulk? Where's Thor? Where's Hawkeye? The Shield is falling apart.
Yeah.
This is when these guys need to step it up.
Right. Well, let's
Where
just
were
talk
they?
about Thor: Dark World, right? Okay?
Yeah.
So we have an alien invasion happening on Earth, not Asgard, on Earth in London. Okay, the Avengers would show up to that.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't be like, "Oh, Thor's got it under control. Let's kick it back
he's got
at the
his
Stark
hammer,
Tower
he's
and play
good.
some pool."
It's only
Yeah,
Greenwich. It's not New York, so we're good.
No, it's on Earth, and I agree. It's Washington D.C. right for a bit. And with all this going on, there's 3 helicarriers going, a battle on a massive scale going on, massive property destruction. Like we're talking about the imminent fall of civilization and the establishment of a totalitarian dictatorship helmed by Hydra over the entire world, massacring how many million people at one time?
20 million.
This is imminently going to happen. There's
Yeah.
a timer. Literally at one point, there's 30 seconds on the clock before absolute imminent horrible destruction. The world will change forever. And the Avengers aren't there. You would think they would show up.
Yeah.
No, then poor Falcon's got to step in. All right, guys, I'll take care of this one.
It's just Falcon and Cap. But you know what? You have to kind of just suspend.
Yeah, but
Your
that's too
disbelief
much of a
because-
suspension. At least if we got Nick Fury going, where is Tony Stark?
Well, the
Where's
only reason
Bruce
for it-
Banner? Come on.
The only reason for this is in real life. It's movie contracts and money. That's the
Well,
only reason.
yeah, that's the real life version.
That's the real life reason.
However, I just would have wanted if they had just had that one line where someone get Tony Stark on the line. I would have been pacified by that.
Even in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there are moments where I'm like, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
The Avengers would show up. In the comics, yeah, they would.
All right, so let's move ahead another 2 years to Captain America's next big battle.
Oh, this is interesting.
Captain America versus Batman versus Superman. Who will be the victor? So let's give a little backstory here.
Yes.
Marvel had already claimed the date of May 6th, 2016 as a date for another Marvel movie.
Yes.
Right.
And they didn't say which movie it was going to be.
Nope.
So then Man of Steel 2 pushed back their release date 10 months. And now they're moving on to the same date, May 6th, thinking, okay, we're going to take down whatever comes our way. And then Marvel, they opened up the curtains, and who's standing there but Captain America 3?
So Captain America 3 is going to be released.
The same day of Man of Steel 2, Batman versus Superman. So let's fast forward to the weekend of May 6th, 2016. Which film will you be seeing?
I'll be buying a ticket for Batman, Superman, and then a ticket for Captain America 3 afterwards.
Okay,
Nice.
so
I'll be going to see them on the same day. I'll double feature.
all right. I know for us, Captain America is a given.
Yes.
Definitely again.
And Man of Steel, not going to even think about.
Oh, really?
If it's on another weekend, okay, great. But I can speak for myself that I will not be seeing Man of Steel opening weekend the way we saw Man of Steel, the first one, on the opening weekend. Point being, they've already lost my dollars going up against Captain America 3.
Right.
So which studio do you think would be wise to blink first? In other words, which movie do you think would be the wisest to move?
I actually am going to go with conspiracy theory here. I don't think this is an accident. I think they're both working together to maximize profit, to create controversy and maximize profit. Yeah. Come on.
Well, like we were just saying,
how much
I know
is going to be drummed up between now and then. A ton.
I know that they've lost my dollars opening weekend. Sarah?
Well, probably opening weekend. I'll still see it in the theater.
But opening
Man
weekend.
of Steel?
I mean, the opening weekend is the big marker. So I know they've lost my money because if you go up against Captain America, you're going to lose.
Right.
Do you feel let down as a fan that are you let down by not staggering the dates and giving each movie
very much so.
It's kind of its own spotlight?
Very, very much so. Because Marvel already had this date in mind. But then Warner Brothers jumped on and said, hey, whatever you're going to be, Ant-Man, we're going to take you down. And then Marvel opened another curtain and said, nope, Captain America. And I think people at Warner was going, we didn't think this through.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of time, there's a we have 2 years?
Yes.
Yeah, but
so
those
dates may shift.
I don't think they're going to, because
on the
whoever
Warner
blinks
Brothers side.
is going to be the weaker film. And neither one wants to be thought of as the weaker film. And right now, Captain America is like the #1 movie in the universe, so they're not moving. Man of Steel, I think, has the most to lose because there's already enough people going, oh, this is going to be horrible, this is going to be rotten, Ben Affleck can't be Batman. So I think they've got more to lose by not moving.
I think you're going to have 3 camps. You're going to have the Captain America camp. You're going to have the Batman, Superman camp. Each one's going to go see the other one, but you're going to have the one that's going to, budget-minded, right? I'm going to pay to see this one on opening weekend, and I'll wait and go see the other one. And then you're going to have the people like myself. I think there are going to be others like me that are going to go, I'm going to double feature it. Mm-hmm. Now, there's nothing wrong with either one. I think that's you're a fan. It's perfectly fine to say, yeah, I'm a fan. I'm more of a Captain America fan, and going to the movies nowadays. Geez, seeing 2 movies in one day, especially if I'm paying for my wife or my buddy, it's expensive. So
it's expensive. And
I don't know how much tickets are
my
out there in
nerves
California.
can handle 2 movies in one weekend just because of all the kids texting and talking and and eating nachos.
Well, you need to come to Texas to the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema.
Oh, yeah.
I know people that feel the opposite way. They think that the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema is wrong.
Oh,
they say, yeah. I've had an acquaintance tell me, you know what? I think that's garbage. I think that it's a theater is a communal space. I completely disagree with this point of view, by the way. But they say a movie theater is a communal space, and if people want to celebrate and talk and do what they will, you're not entitled to sit in a theater and have people be quiet around you, not use their phones. They can do what they want. That's more of the anarchist perspective to going to a theater. I happen to think you're going to a place for a purpose. If you want to do something other than participate in the activity and be polite, then you should be doing that in a space where you're not going to detract from others' experience.
Right.
Here.
So
Robert Bapst for president.
I mean, I love I'm sure you guys have seen the Oatmeal's rendering of the perfect movie theater where all the people that are horrible get put down into the giant globe where popcorn, slush, and Mountain Dew is poured on them.
Oh, that's funny. No.
And everybody else sits in the top where you're behaved.
Right.
Yeah. If you misbehave in the movie theater, you're ejected into a soundproof dome where you have to
Nice.
sit with all the other animals and be loud.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, Robert, once again, thank you very much for stepping in at the last minute. We really, really appreciate it, and we knew we came
Anytime.
to the right man. Now, where can people hear your show?
You can go to baldsolopodcast.com. My podcast is hosted on SoundCloud. So if you go to my .com website, each podcast is listed in a feed. And if you click on the individual podcasts, I embedded the SoundCloud player there. So you can listen to it on the website. You can also look up the Bald Solo Podcast on iTunes and on Stitcher. And you
nice.
So you can choose your method. If you have the SoundCloud app on your smartphone, you can also subscribe to the Bald Solo Podcast there, and so you could stream it either way. And you guys are going to be the next episode coming up a week from today on Friday.
Friday the 18th, correct?
Yes, so you guys will be Friday the 18th, and we're going to be talking about Star Wars Rebels.
Yes.
The new animated show coming out on Disney XD. A little plug for Disney, not that they need it.
No.
But yeah, so.
Well,
All right.
thank you once again for having us on your show as well.
Likewise, yes. I always enjoy being here. Thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. I've been wanting to talk about Captain America Winter Soldier, so it was great.
Well, we're very glad that Steve dropped out.
Me too.
But he never really gave a reason. You didn't do anything to cause this, did you?
No, not at all. Hail Hydra.
Well, before we do the countdowns on our show, we wanted to take a second and thank you all so much for coming back again and again to Skywalking Through Neverland.
The ultimate expression of fandom.
Awesome, and we want to give a few shout-outs today. Now, Roku Depot is a website that reviews podcasts every week. They review a bunch of Star Wars podcasts, and every week they'll compile them and kind of give a summary of each one, which is really helpful and really nice.
Is it just Star Wars podcasts that they review?
Well, you know what? They review geek podcasts too, because Assembly of Geeks is on there as well.
And I guess they also review Star Wars / Disney mashup podcasts.
Yeah, so we were...
Yours truly.
Yeah. So we were excited to be included on their list of podcasts to review. And so I wanted to give a shout out to that website. So check them out at rokodepot.com, and that is spelled ROQOO.
I'm very glad you spelled that out because I never would have guessed Roku was spelled like that. And now for some iTunes shout-outs.
Yes. The most recent iTunes reviews come from Mohar, Voodoo Thai, Shona MS13, and Disney Mom 79. So that was very exciting. We got 4 new reviews this week. That is just great. And if
all of them positive, so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, in fact, if you guys want to review us on iTunes, that's probably the most awesome thing you could do for us. And we just would so appreciate it. And we'll also give you a shout out on the show.
And if you're one of those listeners on the go and don't have time to really write something out, just press the 5-star button and be on your way.
Exactly. That's something you can do. Is really easy.
We're happy with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. And on Stitcher, we had another review too from Cabinator. That's a fun name. We could also use some more reviews over there, but I know not everyone is on Stitcher. But yeah, that's just great. Thank you for keeping us in your thoughts and reviewing us, everyone.
Now, I'm sure this date is on everyone's calendar. May the 4th is quickly approaching like the Death Star on Yavin. And our contest that we mentioned last week is going very, very strong.
Yes. Hashtag May the 4th be with you contest. Now, our Skywalking Through Neverland travel expert, Autumn Barnes, is donating a huge Star Wars prize pack that includes a Star Wars Lego set, Darth Tater, Star Wars notebooks, and, well, of course, we have to include the Pirate Fairy on DVD.
Got to give a little love to Disney.
Yes. So on Facebook, all you have to do is simply click the giveaway tab on our Skywalking Through Neverland Facebook page, and there's several ways you can get entries. So the first way, and the most awesome way, is to tell us what you're doing for May the 4th.
Do we have plans yet? We're going to be podcasting.
Yeah, we're going to be podcasting and compiling our contest results because it goes till May the 4th. But
it'll be the working holiday for us.
Yes. So if you, on this giveaway, one of the entries you can earn is to tell us what you're doing on May the 4th. And several people are having Star Wars marathons. Teresa Thompson is getting married on May the 4th. Ty Fuller will be celebrating his second wedding anniversary. I guess that's a good date to get married, huh?
Yeah, I wish we had thought of that.
I know. Now, Adam Medina told us that he's going to try to sneak into the Jedi Training Academy at Disneyland.
Oh, go Adam Medina.
Yeah. Oh, did I mention he's 33?
Oh, I thought he was like 4 or 5 because they only let kids into that.
No.
Wow. Adam Medina, if you get in, please let us know.
Yeah, let us know how.
I have tried so many times.
I know.
But they just turn me around and send me off back into the crowd.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So if you can get in, we will have you on the show.
Yeah. So now, and Jeff Moose Montaigne said that he will be constructing his new lightsaber and, quote, going through my Sith training with my daughters so together we can rule the world as father and daughters.
Oh.
I know. I thought that was so cute. So some people are very creative with these answers, and I just think it's so great, and it all sounds like so much fun. Well, now there's other ways you can get entries as well. You can get one entry by liking us on Facebook. You can get another entry by...
As of now, we have 1,158 likes on Facebook.
Woo! Oh my goodness. Yay.
Okay, sorry, continue.
That's okay.
Just want to give everyone an update.
Yeah. You can also like Autumn Barnes' My Mickey Vacation on Facebook.
Yeah, and once again, we want to thank Autumn Barnes for donating this huge prize pack.
Yeah, that was very exciting. And you can tweet about the contest as well. That'll earn you another one entry. But the best way to win up to 20 entries is to review us on iTunes and review us on Stitcher. So each of those is worth 10 entries.
Now, predictions for May the 4th. A lot of people are predicting that they're going to release new info on episode 7 on May the 4th.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be weird to release something on Sunday.
They wouldn't do it on a weekend. And they've had other chances in the past to release information on May the 4th, and they never do.
Well, you would think it would be kind of almost detrimental because people are already celebrating Star Wars. It's in their heads. Why?
Well, you want to give them something big. It's the Star Wars holiday, so give us something. Give us a nugget. But the next day being Monday, they may wait until Revenge of the 5th.
Yeah.
That's May 5th, so they may want to wait the extra day and release information then. They got to give us at least one nugget. Give us one nugget.
Now, would they release information about Star Wars Rebels or about Star Wars
I'm
Episode
guessing
7?
Star Wars Episode 7.
Well, they're at least filming some stuff for Star Wars now. You'd think the cast should be in place by now.
Yeah, give us one. Give us an extra's name. Who's doing craft services? Something. Now, they may even wait until Comic-Con to release this information, but they've been holding back on releasing information at Comic-Con, which is good because
it's just too crowded.
Yeah.
Right behind me. Almost there.
Now, on to Star Wars Countdown.
Woohoo! Star Wars Weekends starts May 16th this year, and it ends June 15th. It's very exciting. And, so how many days is that, Richard?
32 more days. It's like a month and a day.
A month and a day. Oh, exciting.
I know.
Yay. There is new information on merchandise, of course. Right?
Disney exclusives.
Yes. So the D-Tech Me, if you haven't heard of this is basically you can be your own Star Wars figure. So you sign up for a time slot at Star Wars Weekends to have your face scanned. Exactly. Scanned. And then about 6 weeks later, they mail you your own personal figure. Now, last year, they had a carbonite block available, like you as a carbonite figure.
Yeah, which a very slight variation of yourself. Because if you saw some of the outcome, and whether it looked like you was up for debate.
Okay, but they also had a Stormtrooper figure available last year. Well, this year, they are expanding it to include not only those figures, but an X-Wing pilot and a Leia. So finally, they have an option for females, which is exciting. And not only do they have Leia for females, they now have the option to have a female Stormtrooper or a female X-Wing pilot. thank you very much. Now they realize that like half the people who like Star Wars are females.
I was very excited about this
Uh-huh.
because to have yourself as a maquette or an action figure is really, really exciting.
Yeah.
And then I scrolled down the Disney blog page and I saw the price.
Yeah.
Suddenly
the price
my enthusiasm dampened to
diminished.
to a null. To a lull.
Well, yeah, of course, the price of a 7-inch statue, 7-inch figure
Now,
is...
when I first saw this,
Okay.
what I like to do when I see collectibles or something that I want, I'll put a price in my head.
Okay.
And if the actual price matches that, I'll get it.
Okay.
So for this, I know these are expensive.
Yeah.
So I know it wasn't going to be cheap, but I'm thinking $49.99, and it's all mine.
Right. Well, the actual price is twice that. It's $99.99 for your own figure, 7 inches. Oh, but they have a new option this year for 2014. You can supersize your figure to a giant 16-inch statue.
So then that would be double the price plus a few dollars more. So
what are you thinking?
I'm going to, well, at first I was guessing $250.
Okay.
If it was $199, kind of stings, but come on, it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
So tell me how close I was.
You were like way off because the actual price for a giant 16-inch statue of yourself is $1,499.99.
Plus shipping and tax.
You don't even get free shipping on that.
I want to see an itemized price breakdown on that.
Yeah. Well, regardless. So that's the Star Wars weekend news of the week. Hopefully next week we'll be able to tell you who is going to be there. Who's going to be at Star Wars weekends? What celebrities? Okay.
On to Star Wars Celebration 2015.
April 16th through 19th, 2015.
You know what? I like saying Star Wars Celebration Anaheim.
Okay.
It's so much closer to home.
It does. It does. Now, we're in April now, Richard.
We're almost at the year mark.
Yes.
The show will go out on April 14th. That's 2 days shy of the 1 year mark.
Woohoo! So that means there's only 367 days as of April 14th. I'm so excited.
Me too. And theforce.net has posted some new guests. Well, not just guests, but hosts to Star Wars Celebration. Anaheim. James Arnold Taylor, our favorite, will return to the celebration stage as a celebrity event host.
Awesome. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
He's just the best host.
He's just so personable and approachable.
And likable.
And huggable. What? Huh? And Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack from Rebel Force Radio will be there to host the behind-the-scenes stage. And David Collins returns for a 5th time as host of the Celebration digital stage. That's where they play a lot of the movies, a lot of stuff that's projected.
Who's David Collins again? Is he the guy on Star Wars Oxygen?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
David
he
W.
is.
Collins. Okay.
On the Rebel Force Radio Network. He
Yes.
has a great show with Jimmy Mack about the music to Star Wars.
Yeah, so
And
amazing.
Stuff that I never knew about.
No.
And
In
all
fact,
the influences.
and they go so in depth. So
Oh, very much so.
So like they took 5 episodes to get through Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope.
Gus Lopez leads the Celebration collecting track as he has been for the last couple of previous celebrations,
Okay.
which is always a fun mix of collecting panels, socials, and exclusive giveaways.
These are the panels that you like to go to when I go to some other awesome panel that you miss.
Yeah, but since they give a lot of giveaways out, the lines are extraordinarily long. And I've always missed, like, last celebration to give away the little metal star tots.
Oh.
Really, really cute. I really wanted some, but
they were gone.
Unless you want to wait in line for 2 or 3 hours per tot, you're just not going to get one.
Yeah.
So next up, we have Disney Expo.
Yay! Now that is happening August 14th through 16th, 2015. So there are only, I say only, but there's only 487 days until that event happens. Now, because it's so far away, there hasn't been any new news released on that, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
So then just a few months after the Disney D23 Expo,
we have Star Wars Episode 7! That is, of course, December 18th, 2015. Who has not had that date burned on their brain since they announced it?
So, episode 7, only a mere 613 days away.
Ooh. So has there been any new news about Star Wars Episode 7?
Well, according to The Hollywood Reporter, we're now going back to Tatooine.
Ooh.
Which, it's already been reported that it's going to be shot somewhat in Morocco.
Okay.
And they're going to shoot some more in Abu Dhabi.
Now, why aren't they shooting back in Tunisia?
There's a lot of political unrest in Tunisia, which I'm kind of disappointed in. Guys, get your act together, okay? Because we want Episode 7 to be shot over in Tunisia, because that's the Star Wars home.
Yeah.
Now we have a new friend, Arby, who shot the Star Wars Happy video, and we could get some insider reports from him.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
I guess we'll have to make friends in Abu Dhabi.
Yes. And do you know why I want Episode 7 to be shot in Abu Dhabi? Because I liked saying Abu Dhabi. I looked on the map to see where Abu Dhabi was.
Where was it?
I still have no idea.
Oh, you don't? In compared with Tunisia, you don't know?
No, I'm bad at geography.
Okay. Well, I should look.
I still don't know where some of the states in the United States is.
Yeah, unlike most couples, I'm the one who has the directional sense.
I just follow you.
Yes.
And some more Episode 7 news. It was leaked by Disney chairman Alan Horn at Loyola Marymount School of Film and Television right here in Los Angeles. They're doing a series called Hollywood Masters where they have filmmakers come in and talk to the students.
Okay.
And he said that they've already begun shooting Episode 7.
And it was immediately tweeted out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was all over Twitter last
But
week.
by shooting, it's like second unit stuff. It's background plates for the effects.
Right.
So nothing with
the principal photography.
Mark Harrison or Carrie.
Yeah.
Which, come on, they're going to be in there.
The principal photography, we've heard of a date that starts filming through an inside source, right?
Yeah, but he asked us not to say anything.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard it anywhere else, so...
No.
We already know it's going to be in May.
Yes.
Now, there's only a couple of dates in May this would start. Try to narrow it down. I hate getting insider info and not being able to reveal it.
I know, but we promised.
Sorry for the tease, everybody.
Yeah.
But we're very loyal. I just like saying Abu Dhabi.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Skywalking Through Neverland.
And it's time to get to work on our next episode.
Wow, is that number 27?
27, with some more really fun surprises.
We always have fun surprises coming up, don't we?
We do.
Yay! And now, with Margaret Kerry being our fairy godmother of the podcast, I'm so excited about this. So please send us your questions, your kind of like Dear Tink questions, relationship things to share at skywalkingthroughneverland.com, or ask her with your very own voicemail. Go to our website, skywalkingthroughneverland.com, and on the right side, you can click a link that says leave a voicemail. There you go.
As well as send her some of your birthday wishes.
Yes, send her birthday wishes, exactly.
She will be very, she loves her fans.
Oh my goodness, yes she does.
So she will love to hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
She's very appreciative of all the fan support she's been getting.
Yes. And another reminder of our May the 4th Be With You giveaway. So go to our Facebook page for that one, Skywalking Through Neverland on Facebook, and click on the giveaway tab. And all the ways to enter will be right there. Well, should we have C-3PO take us out?
Hit it, Goldenrod.
And remember, never land on Alderaan.
Imagine the places that we'll go.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to Skywalking Through Neverland. All materials submitted become the property of Skywalking Through Neverland and are subject for use on our show. You can help support Skywalking Through Neverland by posting about us on Facebook, Twitter, or just telling another fanboy or girl. We would also really appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes. A link to our iTunes page can be found on skywalkingthroughneverland.com. This podcast was created and produced by Richard and Sarah Woloski. Segment producers are David Scale, Richard Woloski, and Sarah Woloski. Graphic design and website design by Sarah Woloski. Creative consultant, Mark Agushwitz. Technical advisor, Peter Heitman. Skywalking Through Neverland is not affiliated at all with Lucasfilm Limited, Disneyland Resorts, or the Walt Disney Company. All names, sounds, and related items of Star Wars and Disney are registered, trademarked, and copyright Lucasfilm Limited and the Walt Disney Company and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All rights reserved. Skywalking Through Neverland is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Hopefully, we have entertained you. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Hey Hey Entertainment, copyright 2014. All rights reserved. No part of this show may be repurposed, reproduced, redistributed, or rebroadcasted without the written permission of Hey Hey Entertainment.
Sorry, all that had to be said.
And remember, write that iTunes review.
Goodbye. Live long and prosper. Wait, sorry. May the Force be with you.
And cut. That's a wrap.